Hi, my name is Winsley, and welcome to my video guide on how experience points in Age of Wonders 4 work and how to turn your units into experience powerhouses in Age of Wonders 4. If you play your cards right, you can get an army like this by turn 21, and I actually used this strategy to beat a brutal AI without any manual combats by turn 12 the other day. Unfortunately, I was not recording that, and I had to try and replicate it. And right here, if we end this turn, you'll see that I'm about to go into a fight that I probably shouldn't be able to win against this AI. But because of the way I leveled up my heroes, they're going to have a lot of summons in the fight. I think this guy can summon in an elemental, and I think maybe this guy can summon in an elemental, and maybe this one can give us some rejuvenation to keep our units alive a little bit longer. So, it's saying risky fight. I probably shouldn't be able to win this, but if I hit auto, takes a minute. You can see we win this fight without any significant losses. This is their capital, so as soon as we win this fight, we can just march in and end the game. So yeah, pretty perfect. I have seen a few players get their heroes to level 20 around turn 30 in multiplayer, but putting that much experience exclusively on your heroes may not be optimal because of things like medals and support skills just being very strong mechanics, allowing your other units to be a little bit more competitive against hero units. In general, hero units are very powerful. Let's see, this guy, he has, yeah, this signature skill is summon, and believe he also has the summon that we were talking about. Very nice skills for auto combat or just any combat in general. We're going to spend the next 20 minutes going over how to calculate the amount of experience a unit will receive from winning a fight. And then I'm going to spend the remaining time showcasing how I played on this map from turn 1 to turn 21, just so that if you guys wanted to try and replicate it yourselves, you could too. I think a good place to get started would be to define experience points, which the game does a pretty poor job of. If you want, you can go up to the encyclopedia and look for experience, and it will just simply tell you that you get experience by winning fights, and it indicates your progress towards your next rank. These tier 1 units right here, they need 4 experience in order to go from a recruit to soldier, and when they do that, they get 4 HP. After that, I think they need more than 4 experience. I believe it's 12, and then they can get a little bit more HP. After that, once they cross the next threshold, they get a little medal called defense. I think it just provides a little bit of extra defense, like maybe +1. Now, one would hope that you'd be able to find more information on the medals in the in-game encyclopedia, but when you go up here and you type defense into the general thing, nothing comes up about the medals. And if you type in medals, nothing comes in about the medals. And I don't think any of these other tabs have that information in there. So I just went ahead and used some console commands. Howard was the one that levels up the guys in a stack to get this guy up to his max rank, which would require a lot of time and experience to get here. But if you did that, then you'd get this little medal that gives you +1 defense. And this medal makes it so that when you enter defense mode, adjacent friendly units gain bolstered defense, which is extra defense. Other units require different amounts of experience in order to level up. All tier 1s require the same amount of experience. This archer is going to need the same amount of experience in order to rank up. But if we look at this tier 2, they're going to need more than 4 experience to get to soldier rank. They're going to need 6 experience. And I believe in order to get to veteran, they need more than the tier 1s. Tier 1s need, I believe, 12 experience, whereas this guy's going to need 18 total experience. At least that's what how I believe this works. It's not very clear how much experience you have using this bar. That's one of the I think downgrades from Planetfall. They used to tell you how much experience you're currently at and how much you need in order to cross this threshold, and now it just kind of is a bit of a guessing game. But these guys essentially need 6 experience and an 18 experience to get to their next level up, whereas heroes, they need 6 experience to get to their first rank, and I think they're similar to tier 2s. I think they need 18 in order to get to the rank after that. And you may be wondering how much experience is in this fight right here, because we're looking at a bunch of tier 1s. Essentially, this guy's worth 4 experience, this one's worth 4 experience, this one's worth 4 experience, this one's worth 4 experience, and all of my units that participate in the fight will have that experience that they get from this fight divided among them. So if I take 3 units into here, I get to divide 16 experience by 3, which is like 5.333, which I believe rounds up to 6 experience. Essentially, that's what I want on these 3 units here. I want to get 6 experience on them so that they rank up, and that means moving these guys out of reinforcement range. Now, when we go in here and we engage these units, it's a little bit closer of a fight than I would like, but these are heroes and that's a support, so they should be okay. Now, as you can see, all 3 of these units have reached their next rank. Both of the heroes are level 2. It's funny, there's only an arrow on this one, but this guy also got to level 2, and this guy is now at soldier rank. He got his 6 experience and now needs 18 experience to get to the next rank, and I believe that means he's at 6 out of 18. This bar right here indicates to me that he's actually at 0 of 18, but I was talking to some other people, and that just wouldn't make sense based off of the numbers we were seeing when we were testing. I believe that he needs 12 more experience to get to the next rank, and that's something that we will be testing. What's interesting is that this guy needed 6 experience to get to his first rank, 18 to get to his next rank, and the heroes, they require 6 experience to get to their first rank, and then I think 6 more in order to get to the like the next level or rank, depending on what you want to call it. Here it says required for next rank, but then it calls it a level on the right. So it's kind of confusing, and I really wish this interface looked more like they had the way they presented experience in Age of Wonders Planetfall, with your current experience divided by the required experience to get to the next rank. It just was a little bit easier to figure out what was going on. Okay, so I have now progressed the game a few turns. We're on turn 3, just to go find some new stacks to go tackle. And this one over here, I believe, has enough experience for these 3 dudes to get 6 experience. This one is worth 4 experience, this guy's worth 4 experience, and this one's worth 8 experience. I believe the equation for experience is 2 plus 2 times their tier. That's like 2 plus 2 times 1 takes you to 4 here, and this one is 2 plus 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6, so that takes you to 8 experience. And I did see a fight over here, which I thought about taking because it's only 3 units, but this is a tier 2, which is worth 6 experience. That's 2 plus 2 times 2. And there's another 6 here, and when you add just another guy there, that does take you to 6 plus 6, 12, 16. Oh, I could have taken that fight and leveled up as well. I thought for a second there was 14 experience here, but no, this is 4 plus, why is my math so bad today? 4 plus this takes you to 10, plus that takes you to 16. Yeah, so that would have been a good fight for us to take here, but this is fine. This one will give us enough experience to get our heroes to level 3. It didn't get this guy to his next rank, but since we have confirmed that those guys didn't need 12 experience to level up, they only needed 6 from this fight to get to full bar. I'm pretty sure we know how the bar works now. And this guy, since he got 6 out of the 18, that would be like 1/3 if this bar was showing all of the experience that you needed and how much you currently have. But right now it's just showing your progress towards the next rank. So they're currently at 12 out of 18, and they needed 6 to get to the first rank. So they're like 6 out of 12 progress towards the next rank. I was actually very tempted to show up how experience works in Age of Wonders Planetfall because of how the information is presented in Age of Wonders 4, and it works more or less the same way. They even carried over this one mechanic that is there to keep you from really taking too big of an advantage of this whole system, and that is if you bring in less than half of the number of units in the stack, you basically lose out on experience. There are certain ways you can build your heroes to make them just complete powerhouses, like a single unit that can kill 4 or 5 units, and when you do that, it divides the experience across imaginary units. It pretends that you brought in half the number of units, which is interesting because sometimes you get like 5 units in a stack. And if I was to say, take this guy up here and attack into that, um, it would pretend that all of this experience would get divided across 2.5 units. So this is 4 experience, 4 experience, 4 experience, 4 experience, 4 experience. 4 times 5 would take you to 20. If I just took one hero in there to take that 20 experience, it would say, well, you really should have 2.5 at least units in this fight. So we're going to take that 20, divide it by 2.5, which gives a funny number. 20 divided by 2.5 is 8. And so basically, instead of getting all 20 of that experience, you'd only get 8 experience on that one hero, and you'd lose out on 12 of them. 12 of the experience would just go into the ether. It would go on like imaginary units that the game says you should be really bringing into this fight, but you're not. So you don't want to go under the half the number of units in a fight. In this one, you'd want to bring 3 units into a fight. If you're fighting just 3 units over here, then I would say bring in 2, because if you don't, if you bring in 1, you will miss out on some experience there. If you're going up against 4, then bring in 2 units. It's pretty safe call. And then if you're going up against 6 units, then I would bring in 3 just to make sure you don't miss out on any experience. But there is advantages to just bringing the absolute minimum amount instead of spreading that experience across a bunch of units that you may not use, like a scout or a tier 1 unit. You may not use that in the later game. Then you can really power level your heroes by focusing that experience onto them. So I just loaded into a different save that's actually built better to level up your units. If we look at my traits here, we'll see that I took adaptable, which makes all of my guys level up 30% faster. I also took the champion, the mortal champion role, not the wizard king role, to get a little extra experience on my other units. It doesn't help level up your heroes, but it does help level up your guys in general. I also really like ruthless raiders because that gives you 2 random hero items, which allows your heroes to go and take on fights that are a little bit more difficult a little bit earlier. Right now, if these 3 units attack into this set of 5 stacks, this set of 5 units, then there won't be any lost experience. And I want to show off the difference between if I just take in 2 of my heroes and they clear this out versus 3 of my heroes. The experience will be pretty hard to see a difference on this bar, but I will try my best to highlight that. So right now, these guys win this fight pretty easily. He levels up and is about 2/3 of his way to level 6. If you look at that bar, it's like it stops right above the resistance symbol. Whereas, yeah, this guy actually, both of them stop right above the resistance symbol. They must have the same amount of experience, whereas this person, they're lower level, and it looks like, yeah, they're almost at level 5 here. They're almost able to get their signature skill. All right, now we're going to remove this unit from the fight, and because this guy has a summon ability, he's actually very good at clearing out fights that he probably shouldn't be able to with this many units. We have 2 units, and the game's going to say, because you should have 0.5 units, we're going to keep 1/5 of that experience and throw it away if you take this fight, because there are 5 tier 1 units here. There's 20 experience. 1/5 of that is 4. So instead of getting, um, what is it, 7 experience on each of my guys, what is 20 divided by 3? It rounds up to, I think, 7. Instead of getting 7 experience on all of my heroes, now they're going to get 16 divided by 2. That's the remaining 16 experience divided by 2. So they'll get 8. They'll get 1 more point of experience for doing things this way. And it might not seem super optimal, but sometimes you have to take fights with less units because you've got other things that you're trying to accomplish with your economy. But I'd recommend you don't end up letting your guys miss out on too much experience. Um, it also gets pretty risky to just send in one unit against five, even if they can summon in three units. They might not if the AI decides to do things slightly differently than the way you played. And right here you can see, yeah, the bar goes a little bit past the resistance here, so they did get one more point of experience towards their next level. They need 50 experience, and as you can imagine, you probably wouldn't see the difference between um, like 35 and 36 out of 50, but this isn't showing all 50 experience on this bar. It's only showing what they need to get to the next level, which I have no idea how much that is, but if this is just 1 point, it can't be too much. If you attack 6 units with 2 units, you'll end up missing out on a third of the total experience from that fight. I think there's 30 experience in this stack. There's 16 from the tier 1s, then 6 more takes you to 22, and then this should be 8 more taking you up to 30 experience. So if you divide that by 3, that's half the number of units in here, then you will end up getting 10 experience on each of these units here, leaving just 10 experience that doesn't go on any units. And you might as well send a third unit over to be a part of that fight if you have any in the near in the vicinity nearby. Yeah, these guys, they have enough level ups and stuff that they're actually quite capable of fighting all on their own. I think I have some summons so that they can actually like win this fight without taking any damage. Kind of ridiculous. Um, but yeah, that definitely was 10 experience that could have gone on another unit right there, so I may as well have brought one more. So I loaded up another save here so that we could go over something interesting that I found out while I was testing. Units like this guy who summon in another unit into the fight actually provide more experience than you would expect. Usually you would say a fight like this with 2 tier 2 units would be worth 6 experience here and then another 6 experience here, or 12 experience for the fight. But I kept finding when I engaged this fight that I would get more than 12 experience across my 3 units. 12 divided by 3 says, each of these guys should get 4, right? And this guy needs only 6 to rank up, so it should be pretty easy to keep track of what they get out of this fight. As you can see, they got more than 4 experience, didn't they? I believe what ended up happening here is these guys summed in 2 tier 1 units and they got added to the experience calculation so that we got another 8 points on top of the 12 here, which takes you to 20. And when you divide 20 by 3, that's something we've done a few times in this video, you'll get a number that rounds up to 7. It's pretty close to 21. So when you divide 20 by 3, you get like 6.67. And that means that these guys got enough experience to level up and then one more experience on top of that. Both of them got to level 2, and this guy, he is making progress towards his second level. Yeah, I think he starts at rank 1 and then he needs 24 to rank up, but the first rank I think requires 8 experience. It's kind of like how much experience you get for killing off this type of unit, I believe. That's the amount of experience they need for their first rank. It's an interesting coincidence. And then after that he needs 16 more experience, so getting 7 is pretty much halfway. It's a little bit less than halfway, but he's making good progress towards his next level up. Another interesting thing about the number of units in the fight is if you end up losing one of your own units, it ends up not giving that experience to the other guys who ended up surviving. So I think if I take this guy in here, we can illustrate that. This archer should be in a bad position if I engage like this. So let's see who survives. Yeah, so this fight right here has 4 experience there, 4 experience there, 4 experience there, and then 6 here. That's 10 plus 8. That's 18 experience that would be divided by 4. So it's a little bit above 4 experience for each one of these guys, meaning each of them should get another 5 experience. I think these guys were at 6. No, they needed 6 more experience to get to the next rank, but they already had 1 out of the 6, so they just needed that 5 to get up to the next rank. So they did get exactly 5. You can see there's no leftover experience. Um, Whereas if it was just 3 units and you divided 18 by 3, that would be 6 experience, and there would be a little bit left over on each of these guys. So it is important that you don't lose any of the units that you bring into these fights where you're trying to get a lot of experience. And this can lead to some interesting situations when you have those big fights against 3 stacks, or like when you have 3 stacks against another 3 stacks and you lose half of your army. You might expect to get a bunch of experience on the units that survived, but if it got spread across like a bunch of units that died, the remaining experience really isn't that significant. Another thing I've been playing around with is trying to figure out how much experience killing a leader or a hero is worth. I think this one right here is worth 12 experience. If I take this hero here and I engage like so, this guy's currently at no experience. And it looks like to me like he got about 7 points of experience. Yeah, halfway would be 8 points because the first rank is 4, and it would take 4 more to take them to halfway. So this looks like they got um, they got 5 more experience on top of the rank up that they just got, and that's a total of 9 experience, isn't it? I thought I could have sworn that this guy was getting 8 from this fight when I was just testing this, because this would be 12 plus 6 would take you to 18 plus 4 would take you to 22. 22 divided by 3 is 7.333, so it should round up to 8. Why did that guy not get 8? Oh, I remember now. It's the feudal training is throwing the numbers off a little bit. So they did get a little tiny boost from that, but yeah, I believe that this person here is worth 12 experience and other leaders may be worth the same or less. I've been playing around with that to try and work that out. All right, so these 6 units are about to engage these 4 units, and what I was seeing here was this guy was going from no experience to his next rank, which is just 4 experience, which means these guys can't be worth too much. If I auto combat this, we'll see that he goes up to the next rank, but nothing more. He just gets exactly 4 experience. And if each of these guys was worth 12 experience, that would be 12 plus 12 is 24, then plus another 8 would take you to 32. 32 divided by 6 should be um, 5.5, which would round up to 6 experience. That guy definitely did not get a 6 experience. And I did the math. It could be that each of those rulers is worth 8, because when you add that all up, you get 24 experience divided by 6 would give you 4 experience. And the other possibility, I think, is that each of the rulers are worth 6 experience. I don't think they're worth 4 experience. That just seems like way too little for a hero or a ruler. Um, but yeah, since they require 6 experience to get to the first rank, I think 6 would make a lot of sense for heroes and maybe 12 for the main leader of a faction. So I was pretty confused by the numbers that I was seeing when I was testing heroes there at the end, and I reached out to a modder to see if they could look into the resource editor to find out how much experience a hero is worth, and they sent me this little image right here, which shows off how much experience you need to level up a hero. Um, but right at the bottom, you see hero kill experience. That's saying if you kill a hero, they're worth at least 5 experience, and every level they have then gives you 5 more experience. So I think a level 2 hero should be worth 10 experience or so, and a level 3 hero should be worth 15, but that doesn't actually seem like the right numbers based on what I was seeing. It may be that they're actually worth a little bit less, like 5 or 10 experience. But I don't know. These are just the numbers that we're seeing in the editor, and what I'm seeing in when I test it isn't quite lining up. So if anybody has any suggestions or has any ideas as to what like where that confusion is coming from, I'd love to clear it up. Basically, heroes are worth a good amount of experience eventually. I'm just not entirely sure how much or how to calculate that. All right, so I did actually try to record this with live commentary, but I had a little bit of trouble doing that. We have 2 rulers. One is the AI, one is me, playing on brutal difficulty. playing as this guy, Bolt Tree Crew. I like the spider mounts with perfect artisans and the ruthless raiders. Adaptable is pretty good at gaining a lot of experience. The bastion that you get from perfect artisans and the industrial culture works really nicely in auto combat. It keeps your heroes alive so they can go out and use their crossbows a little bit more aggressively. Right now, I'm sending out my scout, not to scout, but to start prospecting, because that allows you to sometimes get an item. I didn't get an item there; I just got production, so I was like, I kind of want to use that on something, right? It couldn't even give me gold for the first fight, and so I started considering this fight. That's three T1s, 12 experience plus a T2, which is another 6 experience, 18 experience. If I attack that with 3 units, then I will get 6 experience on each of my guys, and that's what you want on your heroes when they attack a fight that gives them 6 experience. They level up. They go up to the next thing, which will make the next fight considerably easier. This fight here has 2 guys, 2 level 1, so that's 8 experience there, plus the 12 from the other tier 2s. A little bit harder of a fight, so I wait to do that one. We're almost ready to recruit a second hero, so we're going to wait 1 turn to get him recruited at the same time, or in the same fight as my starter hero. They'll level up together at the same rate, or close to it. First, research will be summon wild animal because that's incredibly helpful for this type of strategy. It allows you to like rush down your opponent very effectively and just replace fallen units. Our first pick will definitely be this crossbow guy because he can do a lot of damage and he gets the mount. You want the mounts as much as possible in this using this strategy. So in here, you got to get the scout a little bit further so he doesn't get dragged into the fight. If we have 4 units in the fight, then maybe get like 4 experience on each of our guys, maybe 5 experience. Not quite enough to level up, and we really want them to all level up at the same time here. So, yep. That was a banner, wasn't it? Yeah, so that was early experience. I remember thinking that's incredibly important. We got to our second level with the fight, and then the banner took us to level 3. So now we get 2 level ups. I'm gonna take pack leader because that increases our ability to do damage a lot. And I'm gonna take experience leader because that'll just level up dudes a little bit faster. Its support skills, in general, the support skills are really, really good for um, putting experience on your guys or keeping them alive, which is important for using that experience. If they die, that's wasted experience. This guy's going to be more of like a DPS hero. He can do a lot of damage from far away, get protected by the Bastion. And now I'm just considering, do I expand the city using my Imperium or do I wait? Yeah, that's a nice looking stack over there. A bunch of tier 1s, like a bunch of tier 1 units. Very easy. That's 4 times 5, 20 experience. So um, 7 experience on each of my guys if I keep them in this configuration where there's 3 of them running around together. It's really like 20 divided by uh, um, 3 takes you to 6.67, but it rounds up. I think anything with a decimal rounds up. Clearing out that brigand camp will give us some nice loot, and it's not too hard of a fight. I mean, some of those guys are higher tier, but I think this one's slightly easier. It does have some magic damage, which is kind of scary because my Bastion is a little bit weak to magic damage. If that guy had died, I would have manualed this, but I was intending to get through this entire playthrough without manualing a single fight. Right towards the end, I decided to manual one because the AI did something pretty silly. In a fight that I had no right losing a unit, it just died right before I really needed to use that unit against the brutal difficulty AI. Right, so those guys are hostile. Doesn't keep me from getting stuff in the mountains. We'll get our best, or one of the best support skills. That one gives +1 armor and resistance to everybody in the army, so they'll just be a lot more survivable. And this guy, I think I'll get restore so that they can heal up anybody who's a little bit beat up at the beginning of a fight. Resistance isn't bad because then this guy won't take as much magic damage. I think he has a little bit more resistance than the Bastion, but still not a lot. Eagle bow's okay, but I like the crossbows a lot because you can use killing momentum with them a little bit more effectively. They can run around, kill a unit, and do a lot of damage with their single action point that they get back. I have to say, out of all the hero skill trees, though, I think support is the best, just because it keeps everyone alive. And competitive, alive and competitive, boosting their health and their damage output it's not nothing. Still getting nice resources out prospecting. We got a good map for prospecting. And I decided to send that guy that way because I was trying to find the other player. At this point, I think I hadn't seen them, but I knew that the edge of the map was on the right side, so the other player was likely going to be on the opposite side of the map, as far left as I could go. And oh yeah, no, I had seen him at one point, so I think I started moving in that general direction because I suspected that's where he came from. Yeah, getting some pickups here and just trying to get more resources. This guy has a little bit of movement, so yeah, I tried to move this guy as far away as possible. Getting ready to summon units, but we'll hold off on doing that so that we can get a little bit more experience on our most important units. Those three are going to be like the um, most important part of the army. And I think I was waiting one turn so I could get, yeah, another hero in the fight so they could start getting some experience. Should have used my Whispering Stone earlier, but I kind of forgot about it. Or I was using it on one of them. Yeah, no, I just started thinking about using it this turn. So I did miss out on a bit of production, but I don't know. If you use this strategy, you don't need to be 100% optimal. You get away with a few losses, a few misplays, and it works out in the end. Yeah, I like these skills because they let you set up outposts very quickly and then turn them into cities, which gives you more zone to regenerate health. Barbarians are a little bit better at doing that kind of stuff. Had I not seen them yet? Is this me just meeting them now? Yeah. But yeah, now we know they're definitely coming from that direction. Another crossbow? Yeah, sure. We'll go for damage. They're not bad at surviving, so. Oh, and I got the Scald from that event. That's right, I got a free tier 3, so now I have everything I need to go just march at the enemy, which is exactly what we're gonna go do. We're on turn 7. Yeah, there aren't too many turns left in this playthrough. You can probably tell by the length of the video though. XP please. Almost took the mana, but I don't think I really need mana. I'll take a little bit more experience on my units, give them some nice level ups. Summon Elemental, yes please. It's one of the best ones you can get. And defensive leader is okay, but we have a lot of leaders in this stack, so I don't think I'll benefit them as much as some other things. And they don't have the summons I want, so I think, yeah, the DPS makes a lot of sense. The Mana Unchained is, I believe, what I went with here. It allows us to take out enemies a lot faster, especially if they don't have resistance. It's a big part of what the strategy is trying to deal with. Yeah, now I know their capital is, well, that's going to be helpful information. I could either go up this way to attack, or I can go left. And since I don't have the gold to pay off the people up there, and I know how strong their armies can be, I think it was a tier 4 free city, I'm going to avoid them. Just going to try and go around um, Prospect while we go. Nightmare's okay, but I got better mounts. I like spiders. Spider spam, go. Yeah, bastions on spiders are pretty funny. Which I think we'll get to see when the AI throws away one of my units towards the end of the video here. It's like right before I'm about to attack the capital. Because like, why wouldn't it? Ah, yes, this dread spider. I think I remember you. It's a free animal. Right, I saw that cage earlier, but I decided not to grab it because I didn't want the gold upkeep. I wasn't going to be using it, so I decided to just wait to go grab that, which is a big risk in multiplayer, so other people will see that and grab that pickup if you leave it. Then, yeah, I think I was debating setting up my city here. How do I do this quickly? If I send him forward, he won't grab the 2 experience at the end of the turn for experience leader, but he can say, I want a city here. And yeah, not the end of the world. He's still in reinforcement range if something were to attack him. Yeah, once again, thinking about the mana upkeep that would be involved in this. Right. Now we know where they're coming from and where they're going. This is helpful information. I'm just going to have that 1 unit follow until we want to declare war and just snipe the 5 units there. Works out pretty well, actually. I think I could have maybe engaged one of these fights a little bit earlier, but in the interest of getting more experience, I believe I passed on it. And no, I went south instead of going north, and that means that I actually was able to get the AI to attack that site and then let me attack it because it's just going to end its turn um, right next to my stack. It's pretty perfect when the AI does stuff like that. I haven't really played around with baiting people using locations like that, but I like the idea. It's pretty interesting, pretty fun. Right, so these guys are here now. Here we go. I know what's about to happen. I have to say, this strategy seems to work out pretty consistently. I haven't tried it too many times yet, but I've been able to do it without reloading at least 3 times in a row. um, And I think that's pretty cool. I mean, every once in a while I'll manual combat just to make it easier to get the victory. Right now I'm debating what would make sense for this hero. It's not my main hero, it's one of the supports. And I was thinking about maybe getting them some support skills so that they could start leading another army, but I decided, nah, we'll just keep everyone together. And right, that's gonna be a problem if I don't pay them off. So that's what I'm gonna save my gold up for, is to get rid of that potential threat. Yeah, there we go. Hi. You're right next to my main stack. You're just two hexes away. It is wartime. I don't think I even thought about this for very long. I was like, no, yeah, this is you're just gonna let me kill off these units that you started with. This is like a giant part of your bonus here, and they're just gonna be gone now. It's not even a hard fight. It was like a tier 3 and a few others, right? Yeah, I decided. That's right. I was gonna get as many guys in here as possible just to make sure we minimize the damage. And we still lost a unit. I probably didn't need to lose a unit, but it kept the damage off of the units that I need in fights potentially sooner. Probably could have manualed that one pretty easily without taking any losses or real HP damage because I have my summons already, but in the interest of time, I just was like, nah, that's okay. That's acceptable. 1 unit to kill off a tier 3. I think it's like a tier 1. I traded a tier 1 to kill off a tier 3 and 4 other units. And yay, we have the money to say, don't don't bother us over here. We're waging war. We're doing our own thing now. No time for quests. Decline. Yeah, and that's not even a hard location. If this is a map with more people on it, I may have tried to clear out that location on my way up here. And I didn't know what they had in stock, so I didn't get super aggressive. I could have maybe just ran right at the capital, but I decided to try and give this little shield guy a little bit of time to heal up, as well as summon in a couple guys, a couple units to make this final fight easier. Ultimately, it works out. It just takes a minute. Yeah, it's not an easy fight, is it? And I think, yeah, wait a turn, bring more units in a better formation. Another one to things. I think I got two of those actually from prospecting. I got one of them pretty early. It's like nice magic damage, effective magic damage. Does just mostly focus on physical damage, but by prospecting you can get access to some pretty good stuff like that. Do like rotating the map, but it can get a little disorienting at times. Alright, so hopefully he's protected. Bring over that last one, right? Oh, right, reinforcement range. He's just a little bit outside of reinforcement range. And this is me wishing I had more money. Yeah, I didn't want to lose a unit or take damage here. We're getting close to the final fight. Because that's an easy enough fight, I think, yeah, we do take that experience just on the way up. It's just like, why not, right? And it may have made a big difference actually, because I think we're able to get this, yeah, see, this is where we lost a unit. I was like, come on, come on. Yeah, I think we're able to get that third hero up to level 5, which is pretty, it's a big difference. It's not nothing. Yeah, and these guys, they have a pretty interesting secondary attack. I think I'm able actually to stay out of range of them. I can't remember if just standing a little bit outside their range worked out. Yeah, and I do remember I did make a few misplays here, like I'm blocking myself here. I have to walk around extra far to get to where I want to. It's fine. And then Scald, he can boost people in an AoE, so I missed out on a little bit more potential damage, but you know, whatever. It works out in the end. I think I take like 2 points of damage or 0 points of damage, because look at this. Like, that's perfect. Some people say that the spiders are doing too much damage. That might lead to this strategy working a little bit more effectively. But I tried it with other mounts, and this strategy actually does work pretty well with a few others. I don't know if I like the wolf strategy because it can get your heroes pretty close to units that they should probably keep their distance away from, like your range guys, kind of like my crossbow guys. They might run up next to a bunch of enemies, use their enfeebling howl or something like that that's adjacent to people, and then they're pinned on their next turn. They take a triple attack from the enemy and they're pinned, which in my opinion is not really ideal. All right, those are why I like crossbows. That was a bit of damage right there. And I think those guys were pinned. I don't think, or not pinned. I think they were mobilized. I got two big webs off on them, and now another. Right, another nice thing about the crossbow guys, they can run forward, get a crossbow off, and do a lot of damage, and then next turn, web. It's a lot of synergy. Did we take any damage? I don't know. I don't think we did we? Well then, we'll just have to go on the offense then. Yeah, so this last fight isn't it isn't that impressive. Well, I guess it's interesting. We were able to take out the majority of their forces a few turns ago, so now we just kind of walk in and siege down. And I have to say, on the last turn, they did something that did surprise me a little bit. No spoilers. I think I may have said something earlier in the video. We'll see. People in the comments will let me know, right? I trust you guys to let me know that type of stuff. Yeah, that's not a weak stack at all. I remember looking at them being like, am I gonna have to manual combat again? Okay, no, we're good. We don't need the shield. In fact, we'll just um, spam our stuff. I'd consider getting animal kinship, but it's gonna take 5 turns to get ready, and that would be up in time for the final fight, but I need more just like sacrificial units. Right now I only have a second stack of 4 units, and that's usually not enough when you're fighting against brutal AI. Like, you can get away with it definitely with normal AI and easy AI, or even hard AI. It's not that tricky to get away with, but usually the brutal AI is going to be pumping out 3 stacks for every fight. That in the wars where you go into their territory and attack them, sometimes they don't do so great of a job at sending guys out, or at least I've been hearing that out in the forums, but I don't know. I haven't been in too many wars with the AIs. Been trying to play a little bit more multiplayer, challenging in a different way. And I do think some of these principles you can carry over to a multiplayer game. Not everything that I'm doing in this playthrough. Obviously, I knew I was playing against an AI, so I wasn't really defending myself. I just went all offense here. Let's see. No losses. Excellent. Another wand. Another person gets a wand. Precision training, not bad. These guys are getting pretty high up in the levels, and this definitely makes a big difference. Getting the second summon elemental really helps out. Like that's like a free tier 3 that the AI doesn't really take into consideration when they're about to attack you. I'm gonna have 2, 3 tier 3s. And it's nice the way this capital is set up because I'm actually gonna be able to heal my guys while sieging. Can't always do that. More damage, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Another eagle bow. We don't need that. Yeah, I have loads of gold. Part of me would wanted to relocate my capital and then buy units that are a little bit closer to where we'd be fighting, but I don't know. I didn't want to. I didn't end up doing that in the end. It wasn't necessary. Spiders are good. They can web. They can be like the units that buy my heroes a little bit more time. Yeah, I decided to move up and start a siege with these guys. But first I wanted to make sure there wasn't much here. These guys are pretty weak. Each of the heroes is only level 3. And the units are just, yeah, they're not high enough quality. I don't think they've unlocked the building that lets them build their tier 3s. If they did, then they'd just kind of spam tier 3s, I believe. And that could just be not fun for most people to play against. A little mana pickup, why not? Ring resistance right in time. That boosts my resistance a bit. And I think this person they're like the high culture, so they do more magic damage in general, or they have access to a little bit more. So having some extra resistance makes a big difference in the end. Here we go. Only a few more turns. And I don't know what these marauders are doing, but they're not burning down my cities. I guess because I have defenses. I actually built walls. Who would have thought? He made walls. Let's go burn down everything else. Yeah, and I noticed they had another city over here. I started to worry that they may counter siege because of what I'm doing over on this side. But no, fortunately, that is not what ended up happening. Turn 21. Ah, yes, here we go. I think it says one more turn, doesn't it? Yeah, starting to get concerned. I might need to build units. No, should have just ended my turn. Because this looks worse than it really is. Yep, we win. I think I showed off the actual numbers a little bit more at the beginning of this video, so if you want to actually like look into that, you can. But I don't know. I think this is a pretty good place to wrap things up with a little victory screen. Thanks for joining me here today. Hope to see you around in the next video.